I've been thinking about something for a long time, and my guess is if you're a Quad Cortex user or another modeler user for that matter, you've probably thought about this too. Do modelers work better using the internal amps and effects? Better can mean a lot of different things, so for me in this case, better is more about the functionality balanced against the tone, because we already know that the Quad Cortex can do some pretty amazing things with captures, but there's still one problem. Captures are basically just a snapshot, so the more you change the settings, the less it tends to sound like the unit you captured. So it seems like it's time to get back into this and see what we can get out of those internal amps and effects. I've gone through and dialed in 4 different amp sounds on the Quad Cortex to see if any of these sound good in a pairing together. First up is a tweed. Next up, I've got the UK C30 Top Boost. This one is the US Deluxe. This one's kind of the wild card I threw in there. This is the Watt D103 normal channel. I actually think all these amps sound pretty good in their own right, but I want to see if pairing them together in stereo will give us some interesting textures. I just put the 2 Fenders together, and those might have been on my bottom 2 favorites of the individual, but together they sound amazing. Let's try a different combination. I don't love it. This one's like old reliable. This is the Fender and the box, essentially. I think you couldn't go wrong with any of these combinations. Well, maybe the high watt. I ended up going with both Fender amps. I guess I'm in an American mood or something for this preset. I don't know about you, but I'm much more of a set it and forget it kind of guy with my amp than I am with my pedals, which is why I'm secretly hoping these internal effects blocks will perform as well as my captures on my favorite drives. That would be the real game changer for me, because this is the stuff that I really want to be able to change on the fly. Start with this OD250 is really cool. And then with the pedal on. I think it's nice because it seems to add maybe a tighter bottom end and just a little more grit. This Nobel OD1 is really cool. A little more colored than the preamp, but also a natural sounding drive. There's a Z boost in here. This one's pretty nice too. It's got nice top end. So yeah, now I'm gonna sort through and fine tune these, but there's a lot of cool color palettes here that I think complement the natural sound of our amp, and that's ultimately what I'm going for with my drive section. I always wanted to kind of pull out the best characteristics of the amp, not necessarily turn the amp into something else. I also went ahead and added in a chorus, a vibrato, a delay, and 2 reverbs to cover all the typical sounds that I play with. With time-based effects, I just try to get a good go-to starting point sound, and then I'll fine-tune the parameters to the song that I'm playing. In this one, I've got a big modulated sound. Sounds really nice and ambient. I'm also doing a modulated plate sound. I went with an analog delay over a tape delay. I really do love tape delays, but for whatever reason, the Quad Cortex tape delay seems to not cut through quite the way I want it to, but the analog gives me a really similar vibe. I really wanted to test out the functionality, so I decided to use this preset for church, the same weekend. Sure enough, as I was programming, I found myself altering the settings of my drives. I was adding gain in some parts, taking it away in others, changing the volume so that they were at the right level stacked together. I was changing the tone to make it a little bit brighter or a little bit darker, and it was kind of awesome. It really felt like I had a pedal in front of me again. That weekend I ended up playing with my friend Jake, who also uses a Quad Cortex, but he uses his in a pedal board setup, so he's got an HX Stomp, a Big Sky, a compressor, and a couple of other things in there. It's pretty cool, and it's definitely Tone City. I knew going in that if my preset using only internal stuff could hold up against his super rig, then maybe this really was a better way to make presets. We played the weekend, and I've gotta be honest, my experience was pretty much identical to every other time I've used the Quad Cortex live. My tone was bright and clear. What I dialed in at home definitely seemed to translate in the ears. It felt good. I got compliments on my tone. I thought it was a pretty solid weekend overall. But let's hear from Jake, since he's an amazing tone crafter, and see what he thought. All right, guys, I'm here with Jake. He's the music director here and guitarist extraordinaire. And I just wanted to get his opinion because he's a fellow Quad Cortex user. I'm using just the Quad Cortex, and this weekend I used presets built with only internal stuff. No captures or anything, like literally all the models.
Which sounded phenomenal. It sounded really good this weekend.
So do you feel like it held up against your super rig or not? You can be honest.
It did.
You think so?
It 1000%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah,
I can get down to the like, be really picky if I really wanted to, but it held up against.
Okay, cool. So I'm trying out the thing we were talking about, where I was like, maybe it's better if you use the models because then you can tweak them further. So I don't know if it's better or worse, but honestly, it kind of sounded the same to me in my ears. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Being able to change the parameters on my drives on the fly felt like a big win, and it's a feature that I used immediately. It was really cool that I wasn't stuck with just like whatever capture I had thrown on the preset before. If I wanted to tweak the sound to get the tone just like that much closer to the record, I could do that without having to load up a new capture and sort through a bunch of them until it's the right fit. Does it sound as realistic as my other presets built around captures? Maybe not in isolation, but I'm still not 100% sure on that. Something about the neural amp models feel like how my amp sounds once I've done some post EQ work to it in the box. It's just a more polished sound. Now, when I'm playing in context, I don't really notice a difference at all, to be honest with you. And it's also worth it to note that for this preset, I use amp models that I don't currently own the real version of. So I couldn't do a true A/B test to tell you whether it's realistic or not. It's entirely possible that these neural amp models are spot on. If you want to grab this preset for yourself, I've got a link to it in the description, and I've also got bundled editions available as well in case you want to grab a few at a discounted rate. Otherwise, let me know in the comments below whether you prefer using internal effects or captures. Leave a like on the video before you head out, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.